You're stretching out. We got to get you outside of that football lane, man. Where the guaranteed contracts are, where the best athletes in the world are. That's us. I could take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
I think you're just about to catch and turn around. Try again, homeboy. Do your research on the NFL, man. Watch some football games, old games, new games, whatever you want to watch, and catch up on it, man, because 30 dudes in the NFL and the NBA ain't doing that, homeboy.
Drop the mic.
How y'all feel about Austin Rivers said it's a lot easier for NBA players to go do other stuff other than
That's
people
a
in the NBA?
fact. We the most athletic people in the world, bro. We can do everything. We got good hand-eye coordination, good feet, speed, strength, everything. Football players, they not coordinated really like that. They get on the court, they look crazy. You see they jump shots. You see how they be moving.
They not like us. 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 They not like us.
And so let's go ahead and dive right in. So recently, former NBA player and son of Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers, sparked a debate between some of the NFL players and the NBA players. And this is how it popped off.
You're stretching out. We got to get you outside of that football lane, man. Where the guaranteed contracts are, where the best athletes in the world are. That's us. I could take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
And of course, some of the NFL players, both past and present, had to come back and put their 2 cents in.
It takes a lot of work at your craft to do what we do on the football field. And Austin Rivers, if you stepped on the football field, homeboy, you wouldn't make it. We know that right now, because you barely made it in the NBA. And I'm just keeping it a buck. Football is not an easy game, dog. That's why a lot of football players, basketball players that stepped on the football field, step right back on the basketball court, because it's not an easy game. It's a lot that goes into the NFL. And you're not about to walk into the NFL and think you're just about to catch and turn around. Try again, homeboy. Do your research on the NFL, man. Watch some football games, old games, new games, whatever you want to watch, and catch up on it, man, because 30 dudes in the NFL and the NBA ain't doing that, homeboy.
Drop the mic.
And so this is where it started to get a little personal and a little disrespectful between Austin Rivers and former NFL receiver James Jones. And James Jones tried to allude to the fact that Austin Rivers only made it to the NBA because of his dad. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And I'll go ahead and say this about Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers was one of those guys coming out of high school and college coming from Duke. There's not an NBA scout alive at that time when Austin Rivers came out of college that wouldn't have had him going in the lottery. And it had nothing to do with who his dad was. Austin Rivers was like that. Austin Rivers, like I said, was one of those guys. He was darn near a phenom coming out of high school. I remember there was legit talks about Austin Rivers being able to make the jump straight to the NBA.
I saw him play Austin Rivers when he was like a junior in high school.
Right.
He got like a bucket on ticket.
No. Let me tell the story.
Go ahead. Yo,
so we come into practice probably 2 hours early. Everybody's in there. So we got practice. I'm saying 10. Everybody's in there about 8:30. So in there, Austin Rivers is seeing his father. You know, they used to come up and visit his dad because his dad, they were still living in Florida.
Mind you, he juiced up too.
Man, he juiced up.
This
man.
kid
Every
is
guy's
juiced up.
coming here. He's feeling himself. He had the little joint. So he playing one-on-one with Paul. So then, you know, I see him and Paul, because Paul play ones in the mornings just to get himself going before practice. So he's, you know, playing ones, and he's giving Paul some good work, you know. Then Perk, like, hold on, let me get some of this. I gotta get some of this, because he's the stopper. Everybody, if you want to see where your game is, you play Perk one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
Perk ain't going for no pump fakes, he just real sound. Man, he giving Perk the business.
Austin Rivers.
Yeah,
I come in here, so I'm like, I came in here, and you know, he's playing guys to 5. I think he mops. I think he beat Pay, and then he mopped Perk 5-0, and you know.
King of the court.
Wow. So he came in here, I had my shoelaces unlined, and I came in from the weight room, and he rolled the ball, and I said, what? And I looked at it, hit my toes. I said, what? He said, check. I said, check.
Yeah, Dad. Like, everybody like, ooh.
And then, you know, I'm a dragon, bro. I'm a dragon, and I know your dad, the coach, so I gotta be real careful how I let this dragon out. This a kid, this is a high school kid, got a lot of confidence, but I'm a dragon. Just throw the ball to me, so calm and collective. I just, you know, kick the ball to him, I walk back, he says, check. I went on the other side of the check, you know, when you check, you're on the bottom, so I got on the top, I said, you're a kid, what you mean? You check, get the ball. Like, you don't get the ball first.
Yeah, he was on him.
So, I turned around and gave him the ball, and my shoes was untied, and he shot the first one and missed it. Matter of fact, he made it.
He made
we going
it.
to 5. He made the
Made
5.
it.
Boom.
Made it.
I said, hold on.
Off the crossover.
I saw off the over. Matter of fact, he dunked it. Remember he dunked it and the ball went all in and I went like this. I said, hold on. And I tied my shoe and I heard P say, yeah. I heard him and TA say, yeah, tie them shoes, killer. And that's when the dragon came out. And I mopped him 5-1. But I had to go dragon. He had so much swag that I was like, man, do I spit fire on him? When I saw how hard he dunked it, oh no, this kid's serious. Let me tie him up. I tied up and I went 5 straight. But I tapped him, keep working on your game. He was hot. Threw the ball. Man, wrote the scrap. He was hot. Darren threw him out. Get out. Go get it. Go work on your game. That's why you got mopped up. And then let's start practice. Listen.
That's when I knew, man, this man is not losing to nobody.
That's when I knew right there Austin Rivers going to be in our league about 2 years.
Yeah, he said that. You said that.
I said he's going to be in our league about 2 years.
He said that, yeah, man, he a pro.
He hated losing. He wanted to fight. I said, boy, you don't get out of here, boy. I was a dragon. Boy, we just hoop, boy. If you don't, we was both going. But the way he was reacting, he was acting like he was a pro already.
He had the swag to him,
he
too.
Yeah,
he had that same swag.
And you know what? 2 years he was in our league.
And so, like I said, Austin Rivers was one of those guys coming out of college. And I'm glad Austin Rivers clapped back a little bit because it's rare that a high school player with Austin Rivers' talent can even make it to the NBA, let alone stick around and have a 11-year NBA career. And a lot of it just comes down to, accepting a role or the role a team wants you to play. And not many star college players are humble enough to do that. And so subsequently they wind up overseas. But let's go ahead and take a listen to see what Austin Rivers had to say.
Jones, I saw your comments. I'm going to make this video. This is my last response with you, man. And then quite frankly, I'm done with this. I just don't have time for the shenanigans with you, man. I don't even know who you are, so this is kind of silly. We're only here in the first place because you got offended that I said there are NBA players, a handful of NBA players that could make the transfer over to the NFL. At the tight end wide receiver spot. I still stand by that. We have 6'10", 6'11", 6'9", supersonic athletes that have 40-inch verticals and can catch. It's not crazy for me to believe that I think they can make the transfer over to the NFL at that position, especially when we're talking about the likes of like a LeBron James, a Zion Williams, a prime D Rose, or Westbrook, or a Ja Moran, an Aaron Gordon, Suggs, Lou Dort, whatever the case. I think we have a handful of guys I do believe can make that transfer over. That's why some of the best tight ends in your sport are guys who played college basketball once upon a time and weren't going too far in that field, so they decided to make the switch to football and ended up becoming legends.
And so Austin Rivers is absolutely right on this one. Some of the greatest tight ends in NFL history were guys that would never, ever, ever make an NBA roster. It's just a different kind of game. The NBA, the game of basketball, requires a balance of finesse, speed, power, and agility, and lots of skill, and lots of technique.
Yeah, I watch these basketball games. Somebody gets undercut under the bat. It's a physical game, no doubt. Somebody gets undercut on the basketball court. You know what happens? Stop the press. Everybody just make sure this guy's alive. They're like poking at him. Hey, you good, bro? Let's stop the game for a little bit. Let's go to commercial.
And let me go ahead and say this. I'm not going to try to argue and say that the game of basketball is as vicious and as physical and as brutal as the NFL, but it is a physical sport. It is a sport where players often get hurt. It's a sport that, if you fall on the floor, people are going to be down a while, especially if you're up high. And these players are definitely up high. These players are, like I said, some of the best athletes in the world, some of the highest jumpers in the world. And so, it hurts when you fall. It hurts when you fall on hard wood. You're not on grass. You don't have helmets on. You don't have pads on. So, falling from 8 feet in the air or 10 feet in the air, however high a particular player is, it's going to hurt. And I'm somebody that used to be somewhat of a high flyer. Your boy used to get up a little bit. And I can remember taking a fall in which I had dunked it and came down wrong. And I looked down at the ground and my ankle is turned backwards. Paul George style. It's a brutal sport. Just because you're not wearing helmets and pads and crashing into each other like crash dummies doesn't mean it's not a physical, taxing sport. And then the last point that I'll make is this. If it was an easy transition or it was an easier transition for NFL players to make it to the NBA, they would.
Rod, you just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Show me the money.
If you woulda, you coulda. Because in the NBA, we're talking about guaranteed contracts. And the average salary of an NFL player is around $2.7 million compared to an NBA player, which is $10.2 million. All guaranteed. The majority of football contracts are non-guaranteed. And then on top of that, you got to deal with CTE and everything else that comes along with it. And so most players that are good at both sports, that are good football players and are good basketball players, will choose football because it's by far the easiest path. You got a plethora of more opportunities when it comes to football versus basketball. You got a 53-man roster in the NFL, and you got about a 15-man roster at most in the NBA. And if you can't cut it at the position that you want to play in the NFL, you can always play special teams. There's no special teams in the NBA. Either you got skills or you don't. And you're competing against the best athletes in the world. Not just in the United States like football, the world. The NBA is international. I know football is leaning towards more international players, but it's not there yet. Half of these players that are going in the draft these days are coming from somewhere overseas. And so not only do NBA players got to compete with domestic-born players, they got to compete with international players year after year. Somebody's coming in trying to take their spot. And so I really don't even think that this should be a debate. I think a lot of NFL players got their feelings hurt when Austin Rivers threw out the number 30. If he would have just said one or two or a couple, I don't think anybody would have had an issue with it. But the fact that he threw out that number 30, the big 3-0, I think a lot of players had an issue with that. But I don't think he was far off. I think you could almost pluck a player from every team and they'd have a good shot at making a tight end on an NFL roster. And I think that that's all Austin Rivers was trying to say at the end of the day. But that's all I have for you guys on this one. Make sure you guys chime in below. Let me know how y'all feel about it. And if you haven't hit that like button already, go ahead and do so. And if you're not new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button for me. And as usual, peace and chaos.